But it can actually save you so much time and hassle in the long run, right?
Totally. Okay, so they've got all these files organized perfectly on their computer. What's next? Upload them to YouTube, right? But even that, it's not simple. I mean, they're creating like multiple YouTube instances, separate windows for different file types.
Huh. That's interesting. It could be they're working with all kinds of different video formats. You know, maybe some of them need specific settings or encoding to like play properly on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe. And then they upload everything in batches of 15 files.
Mm.
And they like really carefully mark everything as public. I mean, it's like a machine, this whole process.
It really is. Oh, and you see how they keep checking that pending status. That's normal, you know. YouTube has to process everything, make sure it's ready to be viewed.
So it's not just them being impatient. There's a technical reason.
Exactly. Oh, and did you notice how they split those big sets of files into smaller folders before uploading? That's smart, you know, especially with those huge video files. It helps prevent errors and stuff.
Yeah, it's like they've created their own system to make the whole thing run smoothly.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so fascinating. We're not just seeing files being moved around. It's like a whole philosophy of digital workflow.
It's definitely making me rethink how I organize my own stuff.
Yeah.
But, okay, it's not all perfect, right? There's a real sense of regency in these transcripts. They're multitasking like crazy. Phone calls, mentions of being tired, wanting to finish the uploads quickly.
Yeah, there's definitely some pressure there. It could be a deadline, you know? Maybe a client breathing down their neck.
And then there's this one line that really stood out to me. They say, I'm running multiple sessions here. What do you think that means?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, maybe they're using like some really high-level tech stuff, you know? Like virtual machines or remote desktop connections, maybe to like handle different parts of this process at the same time.
Wow. I mean, it's incredible the lengths people go to.
It really is. And it just goes to show what we're seeing here. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much happening behind the scenes, right? All this digital expertise. It takes a lot of work to create the stuff we see online.
It's like we're getting this secret glimpse behind the curtain, you know?
Yeah.
But in all this, like, tech stuff, there are these little human things that pop up. Like, what are these teeth they keep talking about? They're, like, cleaning them with their shirt.
Yeah, that is a weird one. If I had to guess, based on what else they're talking about, it sounds like the contact points maybe on a micro SD card adapter or something like that. It's just funny, you know? Like, even in this super digital world, we're still dealing with, like, real physical stuff.
Totally. And then there's this beauty. The beauty is bringing them a phone. Who is this beauty?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're definitely in, like, speculation territory here. But maybe it's a colleague, an assistant, maybe even a family member. It seems like they really need all the help they can get, you know, with these deadlines and everything.
It's like a digital mystery, right?
Yeah.
This is just the beginning. There's so much more to unpack.
You know, it's funny, right? Like, we see all this, you know, technical stuff, all these files and uploads and things, but you can still see, like, the person behind it. You know what I mean? Like, they get frustrated, they're stressed out, even a little bit of humor sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Like when they're cleaning the teeth of that, what was it, the micro SD card adapter with their shirt? It's like such a small thing.
Yeah.
But it's, like you said, the digital and the physical all mixed together.
Exactly. Oh, hey, speaking of those little details, what about, remember, the beauty bringing the phone? Any more clues about that in these new transcripts?
Well, okay, so it doesn't seem like the beauty is just like a friend doing them a favor. There's this one part, they're dictating notes about like file names and camera positions and stuff. And they say, make sure the beauty writes this down. Like, it sounds more like a work thing, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe a colleague or an assistant, someone who's like helping them manage this whole project.
Yeah, and it just makes you think about like all the people involved in making stuff, you know? Like, we only see the final product, but there's this whole team behind it.
Right. It's like everyone has their part to play, you know, like an orchestra or something. Oh, and you know what else I noticed? It's like they're so organized, right? But they can also like adapt, like all those phone calls, all these interruptions, but they still keep going.
It's true. It's like, I don't know, they're like conducting this digital symphony, but then the phone's ringing and it's like the symphony hall manager or something, but they still manage to keep it all together.
And you see that in their notes too. Like, it's not just random stuff. They're writing down like file paths, camera settings, even timestamps. It's like they're like building a blueprint of the whole process.
Yeah. Do you think it's for them so they can remember?
Yeah.
Or maybe for someone else?
Maybe both. I mean, notes like that, they're so helpful if you need to, like, fix something later on, especially with, like, a complex project.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they're sharing it with their team too, or just keeping a record of everything.
Right, right. And we can't forget, like, they're under so much pressure. Deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. It's constant.
Yeah, definitely adds, like, this whole layer of intensity to it, you know? Makes you wonder what kind of project it is.
Like, is it a live event? Breaking news? Or maybe, like, a super important ad campaign or something.
Could be. And it's interesting to think about, like, how that pressure affects their choices. Like, there's this part where they have to decide, do they upload a ton of files all at once?
Right.
Risk it going slow? Or break it up, even though it's more steps?
Yeah, it's like efficiency versus, what's the word? Like, making sure it doesn't all go wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, we all do that, right? In our own digital lives. I mean, work stuff. Even just trying to post, like, vacation pictures.
Oh, speaking of, there's this part, they're taking a break to have some orange juice. But even then, they switch to the front-facing camera and, like, record themselves drinking it. It's almost funny, but it's also like, wow, they are dedicated.
I know, right? It's like they have to document everything. Even, like, the normal everyday stuff. It just makes you think, like, for some people, the digital world, it's just, like, a part of them, you know?
Totally. And it makes you think, like, where's the line between online and offline?
Right.
Are they, like, blurring together? Or are we just getting more used to, tech being everywhere?
That's a tough question. But I mean, these transcripts, they give us this really cool look at how one person, at least, is, like, navigating that whole digital world.
And we're not done yet. There's still more to figure out.
Yeah.
Stick around. We're going to dive into the last part of these transcripts and see if we can solve this digital mystery. Okay, so we're back. Last part of this deep dive. It's been quite a journey, right? I feel like we're like digital detectives or something.
Yeah. Trying to figure out who this mystery person is, what they're working on. It's fun.
Totally. And I mean, we've learned a lot along the way, right? Like how to organize files, how much work goes into making the stuff we see online, all that.
For sure. But, we still haven't answered the big question, like, why? What's the point of all this? What are they trying to do with these videos?
Yeah, exactly. It feels like, I don't know, like we're getting close to figuring it out,
Yeah.
What do you think? Any new clues in this last part?
Well, one thing I noticed, the tone changes near the end. Like, it's not so frantic anymore. They sound, like, calmer, more satisfied, maybe.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, and there's this part that they say something like, wow, it's amazing how much goes into capturing just one moment. Like, they're reflecting on the whole thing.
Yeah, and it makes me think maybe it's more than just, like, a job for them, Maybe it's about, like, preserving something, like a memory, or sharing an experience with people.
That's a good point. And I mean, we know they're using all these different cameras, the head-mounted ones especially. So maybe it's like a personal project, like documenting a trip or something.
Could be. And they're really specific about camera angles and stuff. Like, they want to show a certain point of view, maybe make it feel more real for whoever's watching.
Or maybe it's for work,
Yeah.
but like more creative work, like training videos, but like really cool ones. Or educational stuff, but like engaging.
Yeah, those are good ideas. And they are marking everything as public on YouTube, so they definitely want people to see it.
Oh, what about those phone calls? Remember how they kept getting interrupted?
Right.
What if those were like other people working on the project, like giving feedback or something?
That would make sense. Especially if it's a big project with, like, a whole team. That would explain why they're so organized too, right?
Yeah, it all fits together. So we've got someone who's like really passionate about what they do, wants to get the best footage possible, and then wants to share with everyone.
Exactly. And whether it's, like, a hobby or their job, you can see they really care about doing it well.
I think that's like the main thing we can learn from all this. Even in the digital world, it's the human stuff, passion, hard work, all that makes something really special.
Totally. It's easy to forget sometimes there's a real person behind everything we see online. Someone who put a lot of themselves into it.
Well said. This has been amazing. We may not know exactly what this person was doing, but we definitely understand more about like the whole process, the work that goes into making something, even just like a YouTube video.
Right, and that's like the best part of these deep dives. It's not always about finding the right answer. It's about, like, seeing things from different angles, getting curious, remembering that there are real people behind all this tech stuff.
Couldn't it?
So you have to do that, and then you join and ask questions. So it takes, so now.
But it doesn't work. It's grayed out.
No, it doesn't.
This,
Play it. Play it now. Now join.
Oh, Hey, welcome. What's up?
Ask a question.
Yes, what is this person doing?
Okay, so you're curious about what this person is actually doing.
Just
Yeah, that's a
correct
great
them.
question, and it's something we're really trying to unpack here.
Okay, let's unpack yours. You know, the transcripts we have, they're almost like someone's digital diary.
Exactly. It's a peek into their process, not just the steps, but maybe their habits too.
So this person is transferring a lot of video files from a whole bunch of different devices.
Yeah, we see things like head-mounted displays, phones, external cards. It's quite the list.
Right, and then they're uploading all of it to YouTube, it seems.
What's fascinating here is the sheer amount of tech involved makes you think the project must be complex.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just dive right in.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see they are clearly organized.
Yeah, they're color-coded, date-stamped, a million subfolders.
This raises an important question. How often do we think about our own file management?
Oh, for sure. You know, until we're searching for that one document, like, where is it?
Yeah, exactly. It saves so much time and hassle in the long run, right?
Totally. So they've got all these files organized perfectly on their computer. What's next?
Well, next is uploading to YouTube, right? But it's not simple.
I mean, they're creating multiple YouTube windows, separate ones for different file types.
That's interesting. Maybe different video formats needing specific settings.
Yeah, maybe. And then they upload everything in batches, mark everything as public.
The pending status shows that YouTube has to process everything before it's viewable.
Ah, so it's not just them being impatient. There's a technical reason.
Exactly. And did you notice how they split those big files into smaller folders before uploading?
Yeah, it's like they've created this whole system.
What's fascinating here is it's not just about files being moved around, but a whole digital workflow.
It's definitely making me rethink my own stuff. But it's not perfect, right? There's this urgency.
Yeah, it could be a deadline. Or a client, maybe.
And then there's this line, I'm running multiple sessions here. What do you think that means?
Oh, that's interesting. Virtual machines, remote connections, to do multiple things at once.
Wow, it's incredible the lengths people go to.
It shows us it's just the tip of the iceberg. All this expertise, it takes work to create content.
It's like this secret glimpse behind the curtain, you know.
What's fascinating here is that even in the midst of the tech, there are those human moments.
Like, what are these teeth they keep talking about, cleaning with their shirt?
Yeah, it could be contact points, maybe on a micro SD card adapter.
Totally. And then there's